Hi Jason, my name's Matthew. I'm from Built and I just wanted to record a video to go through your website and provide you with feedback. Now, I'm going to try and keep these points as simple as possible, as practical, just so that you can hopefully come away from this video with some steps to improve your website overall and in particular its performance. So without any further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So first impressions, I'll go through the things that I like and I don't like. I've just made a few notes, which I'm going to refer to. So I like the icon background and I like the buttons on the side here. I think these really pop out at you, which is great. I do also like the contact details at the top of the website, just to make that as prominent as possible to to get customers to get in touch with you, which is fantastic. The things that I don't like, I think this title here, this should really be your tagline, and it looks a little bit lost, especially considering that this icon here looks a little bit cut off. So I don't know if there's some way to reduce this empty space here, or maybe use the full height of the image. But at the moment, this looks a little bit too small for these buttons and this title. So I just wanted to provide you with that, and also maybe have this in a different color just so it pops out a little bit more. At the moment, it's just getting a bit lost. Another thing that I noticed is that when I hover over the buttons, as you can kind of see there, hopefully it comes across in the video well, but there's like an animation on it which makes it pop out a little bit and give it an arrow, but that animation is just really slow to load properly, and it looks a little bit clunky. It's not smooth and quick as you would like. So I don't know if there's someone who looks after your website that can have a look at that for you, but just a little bit of a strange issue that I thought I'd bring to your attention. Cool. So going down, I like the fact that you've got some images of like list of boilers. You've got some of the various boiler brands that you install. I do think you need more information on this homepage though. At the moment, there's just this very quick section here. You don't really talk about these brands below. So maybe it would be good to just say you're accredited with different boiler brands and you can offer extended warranties. You've received special training, stuff like that. And then maybe go into your accreditations a little bit more as well, like your gas safe registered, and just go into a little bit more detail. The accreditations, these are nice and neat, so these line up really nicely. But then you've got this quite small Google Reviews logo, and then this just looks a little bit haphazard, the way the gas safe register and the Google Reviews line up. There's just a lot of empty space here. I'd make these the same size, and I'd maybe include them closer together so they fall a bit more in line. And then on top of that, what I would just say for the homepage in general is, you don't want to overload people with too much information, but you do want a little bit more here. I think having some reviews on here, maybe you can have like a slider or a carousel with some of the different reviews you've collected. And yeah, just add a little bit more content for the stuff that's really important. Another thing that I've kind of noticed at this point, and I'll go into a little bit more detail, is that it says you're based in Sussex, but it doesn't go into any more information than that. It doesn't say exactly where in Sussex, and it doesn't really say what sort of area you cover. But again, I'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on in the video. Cool. So going on to the About Us page, I like that you've included this here. I like the fact that you talk about being a family-run business, father and son team, 15 years. I'd say this is some of the information that the homepage is lacking. I really like how this is written. You mentioned the gas safe registration here. I'd maybe include the logo again. So I like the content here. What I don't like particularly is it just looks a little bit weirdly formatted. So there's this big text at the top, and then this looks really small in comparison, and there's a big gap between where it says meet the team and this text here. So I think that needs to change. Also, the image, I appreciate you might not want to have your own image on the website. So I would just say I would highly recommend that you do. Even if it's just like a picture of you two in front of the van, I think that would go a long way and help you come across as a local, friendly, personable company. At the end of the day, if someone can see who's actually going to come out to their property and fix their boiler or install a new one, they're going to be much more likely to trust and like you, and it'll just help you stand out from your competitors. So appreciate that you might not want to do that, but I would recommend it for this page. Going on to the FAQs page. Now, I like the idea of having an FAQs page. I think it's something that not enough engineers and trades do. However, that being said, this is currently blank, so I don't know if there's something broken on this page that needs looking at, or if this is just content that was never added. But regardless, I would recommend getting this page filled out, because I think that is something that people want on a website. They want to have their questions answered. And it will also help how your website ranks in Google. But if you don't have any FAQs to add for the time being, it maybe makes sense to just remove this page entirely. Cool. So going on to the heating services page. Again, I just think it could be lined up a little bit neater. So you can see here, the images are different sizes, which means that the buttons don't really line up here. There's also empty space here. So maybe just have 2 rows of 2. So they just fit nice and neatly. Use a similar sized imagery so that it's just nice and uniform and neat. And I think that will go a long way. One thing I did notice on this page, though, well, a couple of things. There's a big empty space here. There's this image here, which is orange. I don't think that particularly goes with your branding. And then again, you've got the logos here, but you don't go into any more detail than just boiler brands. So I would just cover that in a little bit more detail. And then I also noticed that these buttons here don't really go anywhere. So if I click on them, it just takes me back to this page. So I assume these buttons are meant to link to these different pages. So I would just, again, if you look after your website, or if someone else looks after your website, just ask them to link these up properly. Cool. So let's just click on one of these services as an example. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through every single page on your website. But yeah, let's just use this as an example. I do think that this needs a lot more information on the page. So you've included stuff like boiler brands before, but I think this would be the perfect place to have just as much information as possible. There's 2 reasons why. One, obviously customers, the more information they're provided with, the more likely they're going to like you, trust you, believe that you're an expert in your field. So you really need to just get your expertise, the stuff that you know that customers want to find out about, on this page. The second reason you want to have more content is for Google. So the more information that's on pages like this, the more likely Google is going to be to rank your website highly for something like boiler installation Sussex. Now, at the moment, I did have a look at how you're ranking for boiler installation Sussex and plumber Sussex, and I couldn't find you on the first page. To be honest, one of the things that I wanted to cover off in this video is that the only real mention of area covered is Sussex, and I think that's just too broad of an area. It's just going to be very hard to rank highly for Sussex as a whole. Now, I only found out that you're based in Hove based on your contact page, but I really do think that you need to focus on that first, because that is much more achievable. I mean, at the moment, you're not ranking for boiler installation Hove or plumber Hove, but those are much more achievable goals than all of Sussex. I think focusing on your immediate local area first would be great. And then, if you do get to a point where you're ranking highly in Hove and you want to expand, you can always do that. But at the moment, Sussex is just too broad, too competitive an area for you to be ranking in Google. Cool. And then, as well as that, going on to the reviews page, I think this is good, the fact you've got reviews. Going back to the homepage, I think some of these should be on there. I also think you need just a little bit of spacing so this doesn't go straight to the edge of the purple box. And then it says taken from Google. I think this would be a really good opportunity to maybe have the Google Reviews logo and maybe a link to your Google Business listing, which is in this tab. And really good that you've got 9 Google reviews so far. I would recommend to continue to push that, because that has a huge impact on how your listing ranks in Google. Okay, and the only other thing that I noticed I wanted to bring to your attention is the Pay Now button in the footer. Now I thought something might be a bit weird because it says test mode. So I clicked on it and it just doesn't seem to be working. It seems, I'm not sure if it's been set up fully or if something's expired on the back end. But either way, I would recommend to remove this from the time being and have it looked at by whoever looks after your website. Okay, so I hope that you've come away from this review, this video, with a few pointers on how to make practical changes to your website that will help its improvement. However, if you do want more information, more than happy to help. Please feel free to drop me an email, or we can always arrange a phone call to talk about this a little bit more fully. We do also build websites ourselves. I'm not sure if a new website is something that you would be interested in, but if it is, please let me know and I can give you all the information on that. Okay, so yeah, speak soon and let me know if you need anything from me. Bye-bye.